You're listening to Hello, Good Life, the podcast where we help you define what your good life means to you. We're diving into the nitty-gritty of creating an intentionally good life that you love, from the good, the bad, to the downright ugly, and everything in between. Here's your host, Shay Rubsky.
Hey. I am coming to you today, and I was kind of beating myself up because I have been trying to record a new episode. But if I'm being completely honest, I've been so freaking tired. Between life and the kiddos' activities, I swear there were a good 8 weekends in a row that we did a kid activity, that we were at dance or softball or basketball. We do indoor softball and indoor baseball here in the winter sometimes, just so the teams can get to know each other and start to build that bonding, that relationship. But on top of that, I actually went back through my calendar for the last 2 months and realized that on a low week, my lowest number of calls was 15. And on a high week, my highest amount of calls was 32. And to me, that has been ridiculous. And that is going to be me re-looking at how I set up my business, how I set up my life, how I set up how I do work, because there's no creative juices left when I have 32 calls in a week. That is insane just to say out loud. And we are gearing up. My son was one of 48 students selected to go to Washington, D.C. to see some of the historical things, to see this cherry blossom. It's not a farm, like what's the word? I can't think of the word. I was going to say village, but a blossom village, the flower area. I can't think right now, but he goes to there, gets back, and then that same night, we're probably going to end up driving once he gets back 6 to 7 hours to get us closer to our, because we're road tripping to Florida for spring break at the time of recording this. We'll be road tripping in a few weeks. So I don't know when this is going to come out, but at the time of recording, there's just a lot of in the air things. And then my daughter's birthday is coming up, and she's going to be 13. Where did the time go? Where did it go? Why is it moving so fast? I feel like I blinked and she was going from snuggling with me, watching movies, and being my walk buddy to all the sass and beauty and just the gloriously, perfectly imperfect her that she is. I mean, both of my kids just blow my mind every single day. But anyway, I am coming to you because I want to just spend some time talking about just when life is this way and you're kind of in this limbo area, which is what I am in right now, and you're trying to do more while also doing less, while also wanting to remember that you're human and that you also need to take care of yourself. And I know I say this a lot. If you've listened to the podcast, if you've listened to any of my videos, you're going to know what's coming out. Give yourself grace, but also put a plan in place. The biggest thing that I noticed with myself over this last few months is that I did not have a plan in place for those weeks where I end up with 32 calls. And so then by Friday, I am completely tapped out, completely wiped, and I have nothing left to give other people because of how drained I am. And I didn't think, how can I replenish during the week? Yes, I have those calls, but what can I do after work, after I shut down for the day, so that I am really soothing my soul and replenishing me? And I didn't think that through. As somebody who has done personal development work for years, I logically know that there are things that I can do, but I did not put pen to paper, put an action step action item list, whatever, in place so I know, okay, this week is a busy week. How can I be proactive so that I am not snapping on the people that are most important to me by Friday, which are my family? How can I give myself enough self love, enough grace to know, okay, you need to take a step back. You need a day where you're either on the couch, where you're in bed. You need a day where you're taking maybe extra time to move your body. You need a day where or an hour. Obviously, there's some circumstances where you just can't take a day on those weekends where it was dividing and conquering. And I'm 3 hours north with my daughter for softball. My husband is an hour south at basketball. So if I can't take a day, what can I do to help me? And I wanted to share just a few things that I do now that that aren't really life changing, but they will help your nervous system. And so, what I have been doing recently, because I've built this into my plan, is I've been doing something called emotional freedom technique, which is tapping. And you're essentially tapping on, is it the acupressure points or I think it's the acupressure points. I don't remember specifically, but like you'll start here and sorry, on the podcast, on the video, I say you'll start here and I'm assuming you can see me, but you'll start at the point where your eyebrow starts and you'll tap there. Then you'll move to the edge of your eyebrow and your eye. Then you'd go under your eye. Then you'd go under your nose, under your mouth, on your chest. Depending on who you're working with, sometimes you'll go under your arm and then you'll go on top of your head. And you tap on these points as you're going through these statements to help you essentially regulate your nervous system. It's letting you get some of this extra emotion out and reminding you that you're essentially in charge. It'll help you with your fight or flight response. And that's something that has been huge for me. I used to do it more consistently, but I don't life like I did not make it a priority. I don't want to say life happened. Life is busy, but I still can make it a priority because I am in charge of my life. Like my life is mine. And I did not make it a priority, which I should have made it a priority. But that is just one of the things that I do. I have a treadmill downstairs. It's very old. We really need a new one. But I will go walk on the treadmill. And if I don't have time to do a full 30-minute walk, I say, you're going to do 10 minutes. And I'm turning on YouTube or I'm turning on one of my favorite playlists, which is Sing Along in the Shower, because well, I know most of the songs on there and I feel good singing to myself sometimes, like, hey. Anyway, but then I'm getting on the treadmill or what I just did, what I've done actually a few times this week because of what happened last week. I had over 27 calls last week at the time of recording this, and it was just insane. By Friday, I was in full blown meltdown mode. And so I said, I will not let that happen again knowingly. And I'm going to be reviewing my calendar moving forward so that I'm not in this place for this to happen. But after that, that was my big wake up call. And I started doing something called somatic exercises. And so I just look it up on YouTube until I can find somebody reputable that I can get some regular, consistent exercises and yoga from. And I was telling my best friend after I did this exercise, it was like, and let me go back and say, most exercises that I choose to do are under 20 minutes because I know who I am. If you can do something longer, go you. I cannot. My attention span, especially for the slower moving things like yoga, somatic exercises, Pilates, for those types of things where I know that I'm also doing some internal healing and I'm also like releasing some emotion, it's 20 minutes or less. And so the one that I did, if was it no, yesterday I did a weightlifting exercise. The day before yesterday, it had me bawling because I had so much pent up emotion inside that I did not realize I had. And as she had me, and I can't even describe the exercise, but as she had me do where I'm essentially leaning over with one leg in front that I'm leaning on and then one leg straight back. Something just clicked and emotions just flew out of me. And it was very healing, very therapeutic, something I did not realize I needed, but I needed it. My body was like, "Yeah, girl, you needed this." And it just was amazing to me that I did not recognize, and I'm pretty self-aware, y'all. Like, I am pretty self-aware. Like, I tend to know myself a little better than most because of the work that I've done. But I did not know I needed that release until I was in it, and it took me to church. It took me to church. That's all I'm gonna say. So, again, it's called somatic exercises, somatic yoga, SOMATIC. I will put some info about it in the description below, just in case you want to try some of it or test it out, see if it might help you. But just moving my body, getting out of what I'm normally doing was a godsend this week for me. And I Voxer a couple of my best friends. And so it Voxer's like a walkie-talkie where you can talk with your friends from all over. And I messaged her the next day after I did that somatic exercises. And then I also did the weightlifting workout yesterday. And I Voxered her right after. And she goes, "Shay, I have not heard you sound like you in a really long time." She goes, "I love hearing my bubbly, sassy friend like my normal me," not realizing that I had let all of this other ick kind of drag me down. So it was really nice to get out of that and get back into me. And I actually feel at recording this, I didn't know what I wanted to talk about, but maybe this is giving you ideas on, hey, I've not been myself. What can I do to get back to me? Maybe it's exercise. Maybe it's emotional freedom technique. Maybe it's breath work. Maybe it's just going for a walk outside and getting some vitamin D and fresh air on your face. Maybe it's reading a good smutty book. Let me tell you, I've been doing that too. And oh my goodness, they have been juicy, juicy, juicy. Maybe it's just you recognizing that you aren't where you want to be and you can do things differently. And so that is me on my soapbox stepping down because I am right there with you. I never want to act as if I have it all figured out. I think when you think you have it all figured out is when you stop learning and when you stop getting better and when you stop moving forward. And that's kind of boring, don't you think? To me, that feels very sad. So, anyway, thank you for watching if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you for listening if you're listening on the podcast. I am so happy to be in this space with you, to be growing and evolving with you, even on the days where you don't think you are and you know you are. Like last week after all those calls where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then it was like, oh, I had to go through that to get to here so that I can recognize that. Okay, I have a couple more calls today. So I am going to get off of this and I'm going to actually do some EFT, some of the tapping that I normally do before I hop on those calls so I can get my mind right. Thank you for being here. I will chat with you soon. I hope you have a great day. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Hello, Good Life. To connect more with us, check out soulfueledlife.com.